I really wanted to put something out that could bring people together and make people laugh.
With the cart and the fork and the knife, and they set me up like I'm fine dining at 2 a.m. with some chicken fingers, as if I'm gonna use a fork and a knife to cut up my chicken fingers. You could throw them at me across the room and I will catch them in my mouth.
Is this like a very different way for you to put together a show? Because normally comics get to test material in clubs, and I imagine you didn't really have any way to do that this time?
Well, I did. What I did was I was like, listen, I want this special. I really wanted to put something out that could bring people together and make people laugh. You know what I mean? We're not having a lot of new things come out right now. And so I knew I could accomplish it if I just really set my mind to it. So we went back east when things were reopening. I did run my set, because if I had done it cold after 6 months of not doing stand-up, it probably would have been awful, which it was the first few nights. But I did these like really dinky comedy rooms in Providence, Rhode Island. I did the Comedy Connection, not to insult the comedy club, but you know, it was like 30% capacity, social distancing, their first reopening. So you're performing in front of like 30, 40 people after, you know, I'm used to performing in front of bigger crowds. And so at first you're just like, oh, this is awful. And you're not getting the reaction because there's fewer people. And then, so I did warm it up. I warmed up the show like for 2 weeks at the Stress Factory in New Jersey and the Comedy Connection in Providence. Then I did my show and I did my taping. So it all worked out.
Was it odd in any way? Did it kind of seem perfect that you were still able to do this show during this time? How'd you feel getting up on that stage?
I really was just so connected to this material because it's the most personal I've ever done. And it was so kind of, it's a narrative. It's a story I'm telling. And there's a beginning, a middle, and end. And it's just about, you know, my evolution and actually like coming to the terms with going to therapy, finding out I was like a raging bitch and having no clue that's how I was coming across, like being that delusional, and then paying somebody, you know, to tell you what's wrong with you.
I figured it was time to go to a real therapist. He said, I think you lack empathy. Like a Republican?